When we read nonfiction, a lot of the times, what we're trying to figure out is what is the author teaching us, right? And we're going to be reading a book about gorillas by Seymour Simon. So we're going to be thinking about what is Seymour Simon trying to teach us about gorillas. But a lot of time in nonfiction, what we have to do is go to another text to truly understand the information, right? Because sometimes Seymour Simon and other authors assume we know more information than we really do. Do you ever have that happen to you as a nonfiction reader? Yeah. Thumbs up. Happens to me all the time, right? Okay, so we're going to be reading today about gorillas. And we have some artifacts in front of us, don't we? We have a map of Africa. Okay, we have a map of Africa. We have our word bank, and we have some other information that we can pull upon. So we're going to be thinking a little bit about what Seymour Simon is trying to teach us about gorillas. And in order to do that, we're going to be using the other materials that we have. Okay, so here we go. Gorillas are sometimes called arthropod, or man-like apes. Did you get some information? A gorilla has 2 arms and 2 legs, and a head and body much like a human's head and body. A gorilla also has 5 fingers, 5 toes, and 32 teeth. You have all of those too, and 28 teeth in about the same positions. Of course, gorillas are much hairier than people. An adult gorilla has hair all over its body except for its face, its chest, and the palms of its hands and soles of its feet. Okay, so turn and compare a gorilla to humans. Turn and talk. Eyes on me. Gorillas are almost nothing like the scary beasts you see in Hollywood. Real gorillas don't snatch human beings and carry them off into the jungle. They do not climb tall buildings and swat planes from the sky. Do you guys know who is that referring to? King Kong. Gorillas in nature are shy, secretive animals. If you go to a zoo and see a gorilla face to face, it feels as if the gorilla is watching you and you and you, with as much interest and wonder as you are watching it. The more you find out about gorillas, the more interesting and less fearsome they become. So I'm kind of wondering, right, as like just a person like thinking a little critically, why do we think Hollywood portrays them as like these awful beasts, but they're really secretive and shy? Do you have any thinking about that? Yeah, you do? Can you guys share it with your partner? Why do you think they're portrayed that way?
Torture people. It's because wants to get us an idea that gorillas are not harmful animals. They're not like what Hollywood projects them as being.
Eyes on me, please. 1, 2, 3. So let's just listen in. What were you guys saying about what Seymour Simon's trying to teach us versus the way Hollywood? Okay, what were you guys saying?
We were saying about how Seymour Simon's trying to tell us that gorillas aren't violent and scary like the movies say they are.
But Hollywood wants to make them like seem dangerous to make money for the movie, so they're not like calm, and they don't study the gorillas to see what they do.
Wonderful. We're going to read on. Most of the gorillas you see in zoos or museums are western lowland gorillas. As many as 100,000 live in the tropical rainforests of West Africa. Can you guys find West Africa on your map with your partner and find where you think they would be living in the tropical rainforests? Where would that be?
And when it says in the lowlands, I'm guessing they live more in the foresty parts. So I think they're living in like
Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire,
Mali.
What do you think it says?
the north.
Well, if this is the dividing line, I guess it would be around here.
Where do we think we're going to find the western lowland? Gorillas. You have to explain why you're talking about it, and we're going to look over here, and you're going to be a shadow on there, so you have to be careful. Okay, where do you think you're going to find them? Go point up there on there. Where do you think you're going to find it? Guys, you're listening to see if that's where I would
My
put it.
partner agreed it's probably in these places like Nigeria and Guinea because we think it would be weird if the gorillas were in more of the deserty parts, and this is the west, so that's what we think.
You want to add on? Yeah. You can just do it from your seat.
Oh, okay. I also think that they would be in Cote d'Ivoire and in Ghana.
Why?
Because it looks very green there, so that means there's a lot of forest there. So I think gorillas would like to be in the forest area.
Is it just because gorillas like to be there? What information do we learn about
They
They
adapt.
live in the forest areas.
the tropical rainforest of West Africa?
And when we were looking at the map in the beginning, like me and my partner thought that the yellowish parts are more deserty, while the green may be more foresty.
You want to add on to that? How do you also know it's a desert beside the yellowy?
Also, it said over here Sahara, and me and my partner Isabella knew that the Sahara was a desert.
Yeah.
So that's how we were able to find. That was the desert, that was the forest.
Okay, so now we can add on. Can you label that area where you think you would find the western lowland gorillas? Can you label that area and make a little label on your map where you would find it?
Yeah, Africa is west.
They live mostly in these like green areas right here, and maybe up here. But
Eyes on me, please. 1, 2, 3. A western lowland gorilla's body hair is usually short and ranges in color from black to grayish brown. So I'm wondering a little bit about their body and their body hair, and if that has anything to do with where they live. Like, let's think a little bit about where they live, okay? And a little bit about all of a sudden I see people thinking a little bit here. Yes, what were you going to say?
So me and my partner read that, and we heard that they lived in tropical rainforests, and tropical rainforests are warm and moist, unlike temperate rainforests, which are cool.
Are you guys listening? That's brilliant, right?
And so the gorillas adapted to the rainforests because they need short hair to stay not warm but cold.
Okay, here we go. The eastern lowland gorilla, shown here, looks so different than this one's the western and this one's the eastern. The eastern lowland gorilla, shown here, lives in the rainforest of Central Africa, about 600 miles east of the western lowland gorillas and across the Congo River. They are a bit larger than their western relatives, and they have darker hair and slightly longer jaws and teeth. I'm wondering if that has anything to do with where they live. Do that work with your partner. Turn and talk and try to figure out.
They live in a temporary forest, but in life. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, that's
And they have to bite into it more. Also, and then we went in. I learned that because it's so cold up in the mountains.